Yeah, all right, let's do it. Welcome back to the Housing Hangout, where we talk about anything and everything real estate and lending related. In this case, farm and ranch. My name is Mark Barado with B Realty Texas. I'm joined here today by my man, Sam Gabay, Merit Lending out of Las Vegas, Nevada.
Yeehaw, cowboy.
Look, go grab a cocktail, coffee. We obviously don't care, all you housing hooligans. Um, Kick back, relax, learn a thing or two, make yourselves at home. Today's episode is called The Land of Opportunity. And if you haven't guessed, we're going to be talking about farm and ranch, unimproved property, what it takes to buy all of it, some financing options that you got. But first, we're going to talk a little bit about hat etiquette. For all you cowboys out there, I know that I am absolutely committing an mortal sin right now by wearing my cowboy hat indoors. But I need to explain to you guys, okay? Hat etiquette. You can wear a straw hat from Memorial Day to Labor Day. You wear your felt hat from Labor Day to Memorial Day. So cold weather, you wear a felt hat. Hot weather, straw. If you guys learn anything, there it is.
Well, I didn't know that,
Anyways.
Mark. You can wear your Raiders hat anytime you want.
No, man, it's a seasonal thing. Like, hey, listen, Cowboys take their hats very, very seriously. I didn't want to offend anybody out there.
All right.
So I just wanted to throw it out there. That's the white
Don't be offended by Mark. Mark's going to show you all the different types of farm and ranch property. We're going to show you how to finance properties. By the way, at the end of this video, we've got some hilarious farm and ranch videos. Make sure you stay tuned for those. Mark.
So when we're talking about farm and ranch property, there is a ton of different types of land that you can buy, right? So when we're talking about, let's talk about farmland first. Let's start off with row crop farms. So if you're interested in growing, let's say corn, soybeans, wheat, or cotton, you're going to be looking for land that grows those sorts of crops. Okay, grain farms are the farms that grow wheat, oats, and barley. Vegetable farms are farms that grow all your different types of vegetables that you can sell to the markets. Now, I do want to point out, I'm very proud of my father. My dad was actually a produce broker for over 30 years before he retired. He used to buy fruits and vegetables from all the big farmers and growers and sell to big supermarket chains. So there's a huge industry for vegetable farms. All right, dairy farms, not different than ranch farms, but dairy farms are going to be producing milk and other dairy products from cattle or goats. Orchard farms is growing fruit trees such as apples, oranges, pears, nectarines, apricots, anything that's a fruit. Okay. The next one, number 6, is something that I think a lot of people would absolutely dream of having, and that's vineyards. Vineyards or viticulture is the art, I should say, of growing grapes.
Yeah, I never really put that together, like vineyards and farms, right? But it actually is a farm, and there goes the city boy in me, like not putting a vineyard together with the word farm. But those are farms that you probably won't. I mean, maybe you find them in Texas, but that's more like a California thing, right? Like Napa and stuff like that.
No, absolutely not. So Texas actually has one of the biggest wine regions in the entire United States. Napa is obviously the biggest, but we have huge parts of Texas, especially in the Panhandle, that they grow grapes. Down in Hill Country too, there's a lot of grapes being grown in the Texas Hill Country, and then also they produce wine down there as well. The next one is you may be interested in buying a farm for a nursery. Now, nurseries grow plants, flowers, shrubs, and trees to sell to the general public or landscapers or gardeners or anything like that. And then there's organic farms that you grow crops and raise animals using organic methods. Now, those are just some of them. I'm sure that there's others, but those are kind of the bulk of the majority of them. If you're looking to buy farm property, you're going to want to take soil samples, and you're going to want to know exactly what types of zone you're in, and then also what types of plants and vegetables and crops actually grow in this region. Also, too, you want to make sure that there's and this is just kind of like a little pro tip. When I went to go buy my little hobby farm, it was really, really important that it had an agricultural exemption. If you're using it for business, you're going to get a huge tax break. And so that's something that, for me, it was important that it was already in place, because it can sometimes take years in Texas, for instance, it takes 5 years to get a property to get an agricultural exemption, an ag exempt. And so the fact that my property already had it, it got kind of grandfathered in. And so you're getting a huge break on your taxes because you're using it as a business. And so they don't tax your land the same as if someone just had a
So what
property.
are we talking
Uh,
like 20% off, 50% off, 90% off?
it's virtually it's peanuts.
Peanuts.
I mean it's just pennies compared to what it would be if it didn't have an agricultural exemption. It's definitely worth getting, and that for me was a non-negotiable. When I bought my land, it had to have an ag exemption on there. I also recommend if you can purchase a farm that's already growing what you're interested in, that would be very helpful. The soil has already been worked probably years and years. It's got the ag exemption on there already, and you shouldn't have any issues whatsoever. Moving on to types of ranch land, which are completely different than farmland. Farmland would be crops and vegetables and things that we eat. Ranch land would be more with animals on there. So some of the types of ranch land you might come across is if you really want to be a cowboy, you're going to have a cattle ranch. You're going to raise longhorns. You're going to raise black Angus, or you might have a horse ranch. Now, the next one that I'm going to talk about is poultry. So a poultry, it's not a ranch, but it's animals. So I wanted to put that on the list. When you're talking about chicken farms, ducks or birds or anything like that, you got to be really careful. There's a lot of areas that won't allow it. The zoning says absolutely not, because the smell is pretty bad. I'm driven past a couple chicken farms, and it's not the best smelling, and so just because you see a blank pasture and you say, hey, I want to have 20,000 birds on this place, you got to make sure that it's zoned for what you're trying to raise, whether it's animals or even certain crops.
So Mark,
So
if you had to pick one out of all those animal farms you just listed off, which one would you pick?
cattle, 100%.
Cattle. All right.
I'm a cattle guy. Yeah, I'm a
Okay.
cattle guy. No. Like for beef, man. Beef. Yeah. No. You know what's funny though, Sam? I have actually milked a cow before. And not to get too off topic, but there's actually a specific type of cow that I would actually have. A lot of people around here have Angus, just because they're really big. They're good beef cattle. A lot of people have Longhorn out here too, because it's kind of like a historic thing, and their lawn art. But I would actually have what's called a Dexter cow. Dexter cows are half the size of a black Angus. They're easier on your pasture. They're grass-fed and finished on grass, so you don't have to finish them with grain. And Gordon Ramsay actually says that it is some of the finest beef that he has ever cooked with.
I think I would have a cash cow.
All right, so why don't you just take a moment though and put up on the screen a photo of a Dexter cow so people know what it looks like. There you go. So that's a Dexter cow. So now you guys know what a Dexter cow looks like. The next one that I wanted to talk to you about, you could buy farm and ranch land for just a hobby farm. But a hobby farm is anywhere from 5 to 20 acres typically. Now, I think, Sam, we said that when it comes to financing, a hobby farm would probably be much easier to finance than, let's say, a huge ranch.
Okay, you're going to have your income earning farm, and then you're going to have your hobby farm, right? So your traditional loans, conventional FHA, there's kind of a line at 20 acres. Okay, between 20 and 50 acres, they're going to want you to have an additional 10% down. The property cannot have any agricultural farming or have any commercial enterprise on it whatsoever.
It
can't be income earning, and it can't be land that's primarily used for agricultural farming or that's earning income. Another two types of loans that you're going to want to look into, because these you can get done with virtually no money down, and they're a little bit more flexible on the definition of a farm, is a USDA loan, and most of these areas are going to qualify for USDA loan. Now, you can get those loans with 0% down. They'll even give you 2% towards your closing costs. And then VA loans, of course, are also 100% financing. Okay, so these are just hobby farm loans. All right. Now, if you want to buy a farm that's earning income, you can do that as well. It's a little bit more intricate. Now, I've got a lender that'll do it with as little as 20% down. But here's what's going to be involved in buying the farms that Mark was talking about. You want to buy a farm that's going to earn you some money. Here's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have at least 20% at the table, and that's really the lowest threshold. So be prepared for a little more. You might need 30% depending on your situation. So you're going to have to show a plan of what each acre is going to produce. Okay, now whether that's livestock or agricultural stock, you're going to have a plan to show the bank what you're going to produce and how much each acre is going to generate. You're also going to need to show that you have the equipment to run the farm, or that you have the ability to buy the equipment to run the farm. Okay, so you're going to have to prove that you have the tools to run your business. Okay, then they're going to do an appraisal, and it's a farm appraisal. It's not just going to appraise the land. It's going to appraise the viability of your business. It's going to assess that you have the equipment necessary to run your farm, that you have enough land available to do what you're talking about doing. If it's a pre-existing farm, you're going to have to show 3 years of records of what that farm has produced. You're going to have to show that you have the money to operate the farm, and the appraiser is also going to make an estimate on how much it's going to cost for you to run the farm. The bank is going to do a deep dive into the viability of your business and make sure that it's going to be able to operate.
Every farm and ranch contract that I've put together, we've had to negotiate the crop yields. So keep in mind that depending on the season, this is how these farmers make a living. And so if you're buying a piece of property after the farmer just spent 6 months, tilling the soil and putting nutrients in the soil and growing this, he's gonna want to be entitled to what he grew. And so the crop yield is always negotiated in a real estate contract, on a farm and ranch contract. So just keep that in mind.
So if you're anything like Mark and you've got aspirations of being a farmer, we've got some videos for you right now that are going to make you laugh your head off. Let's get into those. By the way, if you haven't done so already, now's the perfect time to hit that subscribe button. Now let's get into some of these farm and ranch dreams. Let's check it out. Now, doesn't that seem beautiful, Mark? Don't you dream of living on a farm or a ranch? Isn't that your end goal?
I'm not going to do pigs, but yes, absolutely. That's the end goal for me.
Let's hear what this guy's got to say about it, Mark.
Farming gets romanticized a lot. People will say, oh, you're living the dream. You're living on a small farm. What we're feeling is farmer burnout, and our colleagues are feeling the same way. It just wears us down. No matter how much you love something, if you got to do it for so many hours every day, 7 days a week without a break, after a while, you start to get tired of it.
Okay, so not for everybody, I would imagine, right?
Burnout.
Listen, before you get into that dream, be ready to roll up your sleeves. There's a little bit of work involved, apparently.
Dude, there's some farmer burnout, man. And it's real, Sam. I don't even live on the farm, but just my little hobby farm keeps me busy, man.
Be ready. Be ready. I mean, it is a dream for some. But you've got to be ready to work, man. Now, before we got into these videos, let's play a little game. We were talking about different types of farms we had. We had cows, we had chickens. Let's play a little quiz. What do you think is the hardest animal to raise on a farm? What's the hardest animal?
Oh, man. I would say maybe pigs.
Pigs. All right, let's fact check it.
Now, which animal was the most difficult out of all the animals when compared with the others? Let's get to that.
I think it's gotta be goats.
Goats? Goat?
It's a goat. Apparently, it's a goat.
It's a goat?
They're more weather sensitive, need a lot of hoof maintenance, more individual attention. They're hard to fence. They're hard to keep healthy. We've had issues with internal parasites, external parasites, poison.
Getting stuck in fences.
Oh my goodness, getting stuck in fences, getting out of fences. Feet problems, yeah.
It's bacteria. It's all they're jumping around. They're standing on your car. You got to fix their feet. They're getting sick. They're all through the fence. All right, there it is, folks. Farm and ranch. We showed you hat etiquette. We showed you all the different kinds of farm and ranch. We talked about bare land. We talked about land development. We showed you how to finance your hobby farm. We showed you how to finance your commercial farm. That's it for me, Mark. I learned a lot. I don't know about you, but I learned a tremendous amount. What do you say?
Man, I had a lot of fun on today's episode. I hope you guys did too. That's all I got. Until next time.
Yeehaw, cowboy. See you later. Peace.